Hi everyone, it's Shaw from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. This video is for the Craft Collabs hop that's going on over on Instagram. Please be sure to check out the description box because all the information for the hop will be listed there. You'll want to go over and check it out because there's a giveaway from this company, which is called This Calls for Confetti. I'm showing you a couple of the products that I got from them. I will also link the haul video to show you everything that I got. They are sponsoring this hop for us, so thank you for letting us choose the items that we wanted to use. I went with mostly blues. I did get a couple of other things because this is an all about summer hop. I know most people are going to do beach or vacation or those kinds of cards, but for me, summer is all about spending time with family and celebrating birthdays because there are so many of them in my family. In July, I have several birthdays, my brother-in-law and a couple of my nieces, and then in August, my dad and my twin nieces were born on the exact same day. My mom's dad's birthday was in August, and then I also have a couple other little cousins that have birthdays in August. So we have a lot of and a lot of my friends actually have August birthdays. I have 3 that are within like 2 weeks of each other. So I have a lot of birthdays in August. So I'm usually making birthday cards for the entire summer. I thought that I'd get a head start on that, but I also wanted to use summery colors. So I decided to stick with B and BG Copic markers. I cut this background, this fancy die, out of some lightweight cardstock. Originally, I had cut it out from some watercolor paper. I wanted to do some watercoloring with either my Inktense watercolor pencils or with Distress Oxides, but my Cuttlebug just was not having it today, so we're using Copic markers. Now you could color this background in with any medium that you want, colored pencils, markers, crayons even. You could ink up a background and cut it out and kind of just have the colors wherever they may land. You can do so many different things with this, but I wanted to show you how to do kind of a monochromatic look, but also how to step it up. So I only put that little bit of coloring in there because really everything else was just very basic. I'm using my white gel pen to add highlights to all of the balloons. Some of them will get 1 line, some of them will get 2, just depended on what I felt like doing and how much of the balloon was showing. I'm also decorating the candles. I'm putting horizontal, vertical, stripes on there as well as slanted ones, and then some dots because I wanted all the birthday candles to look completely different. When we were growing up, I don't think we ever had a set of matching ones. We always had random ones that kind of were in this little tin with some matches, and it was kind of like funny. You get to just see what kind of candles you had on your cake. And then I'm also going around and decorating all of the presents. I'm adding kind of texture to the wrapping paper. So I'm adding lines and dots again and some stars. I'm adding in a line where the lid for the box would meet. I did generally use a darker color Copic marker underneath there, but I also wanted to add a little white line to it. I'm also adding some dots, kind of like the pearls that you see sometimes when they decorate the edges of the cake where one layer meets the other one. Just wanted to add some texture and some interest to this. It's a great way to step up your background. It's perfectly fine to just color it in and leave it there. That looked beautiful. But I tend to like to add things to my backgrounds. Now this piece is actually going to go on the front of the card when we put it together for the shaker. Normally I would put my acetate over top of this. However, I put it underneath this time because I did not want the shaker pieces to get stuck in the background. So you'll see what I mean in a minute when we start to put this together. So once I'm happy with the way that the whole entire thing looks after I've gone back and added little white marks into like little highlights into the banner, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to create the frame for this, because if you see, I created a black frame, and because the edges are kind of weird with this one. This is the only thing that I don't like about the fancy dyes, because you kind of just have that edge there and you don't know whether to color it in a solid image. So I just created a frame. I cut down a piece of black cardstock to 4¼ by 5½ inches. And then I just cut out the center piece. I measured out about 1/4 inch, I think, around all the edges. And the bottom has a thicker border, so I did have to go back and add a little bit of Copic marker to the bottom of that, because a little bit of that white was showing. However, you could have easily just snipped that down and made the card a little bit smaller. Now you can see I am taking some Sparkle Blends acetate and adding glue from Honeybee Bee Creative Glue to the back of it. And I'm going to be putting that acetate on the back. I could have sandwiched it in the middle of the black frame and that, but again, I didn't want those shaker pieces to be caught on any of those die cut pieces. So I'm making sure that all the glue has dried on that. And then I'm taking some fun foam, because I do not have any foam. I know, kind of crazy, right? That I've used to do so many shaker cards and I don't have any foam. So I just take regular fun foam from the craft store, run it through my cutter, and then it'll leave like mostly a score mark in it. It cuts almost all the way through. And then I just use my scissors to snip it off. This is actually the perfect size for the 2 longest sides of the shaker card. And then I'm going to cut out ones for the top. So I layered 2 pieces together. So I needed 8 pieces total cut out from this foam. So you're going to see that I'm gluing these together. I had to be a little bit patient with this, because I did make sure that it all dried before I put my shaker together, because I didn't want any of my shaker pieces sticking to any glue. I also am going to use my anti-static powder on the acetate so that I don't get anything sticking to it. And I make sure that all of that glue is not in the corners or seeped out any of the edges. You'll see that in a minute. So I'm just gluing the pieces together, and then I'm going to glue the longer pieces onto the acetate after I snip off that little bottom piece. The acetate sheets are larger than a card front, which is nice, but I just cut that little piece off. Now you're going to see I'm going to use the same Be Creative glue from Honeybee to glue this down. You could use a wet glue or a tape runner. I decided to do, since it was so skinny, I decided to do the wet glue, but I did give it a lot of time to dry. I actually put it off to the side after I was finished doing this and let it dry for a little bit, because again, I didn't want any of the shaker pieces to get caught on any of that glue. I wanted to give it a lot of time to get a nice good adhesion on there and make sure everything dried. So I'm going to do the side pieces, and then I've cut out the other pieces, and I'm going to just dry fit it in there, and then I cut the pieces down. I cut that out, but here you see me going in with that anti-static powder after I've let this dry for several minutes, going back in to just kind of take out any of the fingerprints. And then you can probably see Lucy in the reflection. She decided to jump up on the desk, so I did have to cut some of this out because she actually pretty much sat on the project. So while I let that dry a little bit more before I decided to put the confetti in, and you can see her there. She's now sniffing around my desk. She, like I said, if you've seen any of my videos lately, she's pretty much in all of them. She loves to jump up onto the desk. She thinks I cleaned off a spot just for her. So I'm shaking out 3 of the colors, and I will list the colors below, and I will put links to them to the 3 colors that I used. I thought I was going to use a 4th one, and I had it off to the side, and I forgot about it. I don't know how I missed it, probably because I have so much junk on my desk, but I did have every intention of using that 4th one on there. I think that's the Bring on the Bokeh, and then the clear one, and then the real light blue one. So it's just picking off a little piece inside, Again, putting a little bit more static powder and the anti-static powder tool in there. And then we are going to dump the confetti in there. So I tried to leave it in the center because I was going to put glue on the tops of the foam pieces, because I cut down a piece of 6x6 cardstock, and you'll see it in a minute. It has different shades of blue. All I can think of is rickrack, like squigglies on it. I did cut that down, and I was just trying to keep it, again, away from the edges. I did put this to the side to let the glue dry before I even shook anything, because I didn't want the pieces, again, to like go to the back and get stuck in any of that glue. As you can tell, I've had a problem with that in the past with my shaker cards, the shaker pieces getting stuck with glue. This is probably the only shaker card that I've made so far that I haven't had a major issue with, or have had to, undo it or really fix it. So I am just going to use that same wet glue on the back of it, and it's a 4.25 by 5.5 inch black top, or top folding card. Yep. And I'm going to glue it down to that. And that is the card. That was super easy. It was really fast to come together. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. There are pictures and then a little video of how it shakes after this. And make sure, again, you hit the check out the description box so that you can see all the information and participate in the giveaway. And I'll see you guys soon for another video.